and this is gross. Karim Benzema has just been given a 12 times pay rise. This man is an absolute Real Madrid legend. Lads, when he signed for the Galacticos in 2009, did anyone think in their wildest dreams that this skinhead Frenchman would last 14 years at the club? They were buying this guy from the French league, a division where most people think the level of defending is so poor that you can stick actual farmyard pigs into a Toulouse back line and nobody would know the difference. Yes, he was a Leon goal machine, but guess what? So is Alexander Lacazette. I mean, lads, 31 goals in 39 games for Leon this season. That would lead you to believe that the bloke is world class. When in reality, stick him in the Premier League and he's just some chubby teddy bear who's more likely to be found unapologetically stuffing his face with muffins on the team bus than he is to challenge for the golden boot.
Yes, last season, I know. 4 goals in 30 Premier League matches. And that's the sort of end product which Kiefer Moore would be embarrassed about. But I'm going to call it, he's going to score 30 goals for Leon this season. Just you watch.
There were no guarantees with Benzema. I thought he was on the same level as Gonzalo Higuain or Klaus-Jan Huntelaar, and within 3 years he'd been sold to AC Milan. But nah, I mean, Charisma, while he was at Leon, it wasn't just Benzema. It was Benzema and Ben Arfa. They were equals in the eyes of the Leon president. Yeah, one of them went on to play nearly 700 games for Real Madrid, win 4 La Liga titles, 3 Copas del Rey, 5 Champions Leagues, and 5 Club World Cups. The other grew up to finish 16th in the league with Newcastle, fail at Hull City, flop at PSG, and just get passed around clubs as if he was some diseased zombie. Lads, if it weren't for the absolute monster freak that is Cristiano Ronaldo, then Benzema would be Real Madrid's record goal scorer. He'd have a statue outside the Bernabeu, and one of the stands named after him. He has literally won the Ballon d'Or. I mean, if it weren't for him being a naughty boy, he'd be a world champion with France as well. He has had the perfect career, but now my jaw is literally on the floor. He's just penned a 2-year deal at Al Ittihad with an option for a further year. It's a contract worth £172 million a season. Lads, he was earning 14 million a year at Real Madrid. Trying to fathom that level of wage, it's like trying to imagine how many aliens there are in space. Lads, we thought it was insane when Cristiano Ronaldo's club captain was Harry Maguire. I mean, can you imagine Ronaldo having to grit his teeth and listen to team talks from a former Wigan centre half? Someone who was so unfit for that role. Every time he tried to give a motivational speech, he probably did so whilst eating a cheese sandwich. Imagine listening to a YouTube video featuring Maguire team talks. It would probably be like watching some nervous teenager giving a toast at a wedding. Yeah, his voice trembling with fear, staring at the floor and trying not to projectile vomit into his granddad's eye. Well, this is where things get ridiculous. Benzema, a fellow Ballon d'Or winner, his club captain is now Ahmed Hegazi, an Egyptian centre back who you might remember from getting relegated with West Brom when he was at the Hawthorns. The guy was probably begging Daniel Sturridge for a selfie, and now he's actually gonna have to tell Benzema what to do. I'm sorry, but again, it's a bit like me sneaking into Simon Cowell's house and telling him to wipe his pubic hairs off the toilet seat or to remove Louis Walsh's head from the fridge. But you get my point. That is how silly this whole thing is. When Nuno Espirito Santo was fired after just 3 months at Tottenham, he probably never ever dreamed that he'd ever get to work with such a superstar on the level of Harry Kane. And yet now, this former Wolves manager is actually been given the privilege of coaching Benzema. So Benzema is on a monstrous 2-year deal. But let's be real, he's going to trigger the 3rd year. I mean, unless something terrible happens, like if his newborn son gets eaten by a camel. But I mean, even then, for £172 million a year, and considering his controversy section on Wikipedia, probably longer than a chapter in Lord of the Rings, then Benzema would probably stuff his nan with sand and picture up as a scarecrow in his garden if it guaranteed him more cash. I'm sorry, that was mean. I really am painting Benzema out to have the morals of Voldemort. I mean, no, okay, he's not the French Darth Vader, alright? But clearly, the man loves money. By the time his 3-year deal is up, he will have pocketed £500 million. This man is going to be on the front cover of Forbes. He'll be able to flex on LeBron James. He can literally afford to buy the entire country of Malta and turn it into his own private zoo. He will be the richest athlete in the world. And all he has to do, all that's in his job description is just stick a few hat-tricks past goalkeepers who have the reflexes of a blind Spider-Man. This is a league where Odion N'Golo is seen as a goal machine. Yeah, I mean, 3 years ago, while at Old Trafford, he was just lockdown's answer to Wout Horse, who looked like he just won his Man United squad place and a Kinder's chocolate egg. I mean, neither man scored a single goal for that club in the Premier League. I am really not exaggerating when I say that a Saudi prince could literally spoon out Benzema's left eye with a fork and he would still win the Golden Boot. This league is far too easy, and you're going to offer him this much to play? At Real Madrid, he was earning 14 million a year. Here, he's earning 14 mil a month. I remember when Wayne Rooney was given a contract worth £300,000 a week back in 2010, and I vividly remember thinking that was ugly, obscene levels of wealth. Yeah. Benzema is earning 10 times that amount. He's getting 3.3 mil a week. I mean, who needs 3 million a week? How do you spend that much in 7 days? Like, how? What's he gonna do? Buy a castle on the Monday night, invest in 3 yachts on the Tuesday, on the Wednesday just employ Jennifer Lopez to just cook him a shepherd's pie, before what? Spending the rest of the week just tipping 50 grand to waiters at Pizza Hut? I mean, forget £300,000 a week. This man is earning £471,000 a day. I'm sorry, but you're telling me that he earns close to £500,000 every time he wakes up? Every time he's tucking into Butter Rice Krispies at 8 a.m. He's got an extra £500,000 in his bank account? I might actually cry. That is £19,000 an hour. £327 a minute. Every second of the day, he's earned a fiver. So honestly, I mean, if somebody served this bloke a dodgy Chinese takeaway, he could realistically earn about 10 grand sitting on the toilet. Future generations are going to look at the name Benzema as if he was a past king. This is one of the few footballers to ever have generational wealth. I mean, look at the players from your dad's generation. I mean, George Best was one of the greatest players of all time, but in his will, he left his son a watch. That's it, a watch. Yeah, you can find the time on your phone, but Benzema, it'll be another 150 years at least before any of his great-grandkids have to get a job. In about 80 years time, there'll be rich Benzema descendants dressed head to toe in Gucci gear, applying for the latest reality TV show, and all because he played for Al Ittihad. But I mean, it's not just him. N'Golo Kante. Remember when everyone said that this bloke didn't even like money just because he drove a 7-year-old Mini Cooper? Everyone sort of just chose to ignore the fact that yes, this nice little shy boy, someone who everybody thought was cute, was still on Chelsea wages of £290,000 a week. Yeah, you weren't exactly able to walk over him in contract negotiations. It's funny, people like Raheem Sterling were destroyed in the media, and we were told that he was just some greedy toe rag who'd probably gladly spit at old ladies in the street. But in reality, he's fine. And Kante was just the sweetest little boy who didn't care about money. I mean, even as a child, he probably gave his tooth fairy money to the homeless, right? I mean, Christ, well, that nauseating story about him eating a curry and playing FIFA with random Chelsea fans caused the media to write about him as if he's Mother Teresa himself. Whereas people like Craig Bellamy, another media villain, literally has charities in Africa. I mean, what? And yet journalists were ready to lick Kante's feet just because he watched Match of the Day with normal muggles. The reality is so very different. This is a man who turned down a £100,000 a week deal at Leicester City. I mean, he could have showed loyalty to the club who plucked him out of obscurity. He could have embarked on their Champions League journey, but he didn't. His agents chose to hoist Chelsea by the ankles and shook them down for a crazy amount of cash, and now he's going to be on wages that are 21 million per year, more than Lionel Messi has ever earned. He's on a 2-year deal worth 86 million a year. Again, it is frightening levels of money, and his evolution into one of the richest sportsmen of all time. It's like Conor McGregor's rise from fixing toilets to cashing in on Floyd Mayweather. I mean, as Kante was playing in the French 3rd division at 22, he probably barely had enough money to afford a taxi to work. And yet now, he's richer than Ricky Gervais. He's making £1.5 million every single week. I mean, is it even good business sense? I get breaking the bank for Benzema, but Kante is 32 years old and with a body that's breaking down. He has missed 45 games for Chelsea through injury last season, and his dodgy hamstring wrecked his World Cup hopes. In what possible world does any club chairman sanction an £86 million a year deal for someone who honestly has weaker limbs than a Barbie doll? Al Ittihad. Al Ittihad. Lads, I'm trying to look for notable players who represented Al Ittihad in the past, and to be fair, I have come across players who also played for AC Milan and Juventus, but wait, it's not exactly Ronaldinho and Del Piero. I mean, Sonny Montari was here in 2015, as was James Troisi, officially a former Juventus employee, but nah, he was just some bang average Australian winger who failed at Newcastle. He also bought Jose Desiree Job in 2005, again some run-of-the-mill striker at Middlesbrough. Imagine telling any one of those lads that one day that very club would be signing someone just a year out from lifting the Ballon d'Or. For a while there, it was the Chinese Super League who tried to test the loyalties of players. They waived a big fat paycheck and they succeeded in sucking some top players out of Europe, like an aggressive vacuum cleaner as they sold their soul to the devil. But when we think about it, who actually left Europe for China who was a top elite player? Who did we actually miss? The best player they got their hands on was Oscar when he left Chelsea in 2017, but there was never a Benzema, a Kante, a Ronaldo. I mean, did anyone really care when China stole Mark Arnautovic, Paulinho, or Fellaini? It had probably about as much impact on your life as if you were told that Britney Spears has retired. Big who cares? But this Saudi thing is legit. I mean, Wilfred Zaha has been tempted with a £45 million a year offer to join Ronaldo at Al Nassr. Everyone knows that this man is desperate for Champions League football, but 45 mil is 45 mil. Luka Modric, Hugo Lloris, Sergio Busquets, Sergio Ramos, Angel Di Maria. They've all been offered deals to go to Saudi Arabia. This country is not messing around. They are targeting Champions League winners, World Cup champions. They got their hands on Newcastle, and for Newcastle, that's when they've been sensible. Signing, modest but brilliant players like Kieran Trippier or Bruno Guimaraes, instead of, shoving £500,000 a week down Ronaldo's throat. They're actually being very sensible with Newcastle, trying to build them the right way. But it's in their own country, where they're just unapologetically crazy. They're starting now by tempting washed up world stars when they're in their 30s. But what happens when they finally get their hands on superstars when they're 24? Are we really going to live in a world where the best footballers on planet Earth are all playing in the Saudi Pro League? Is that where we're heading? No longer will players dream of playing in the Premier League. No. The priorities have shifted. Now we're going to have kids in the West Ham Academy, 13-year-olds who are being pressurized to provide for their great-grandchildren. It used to be about putting a roof over your mum's head. But now, you're thinking of poor Sally and Sheila in the year 2094. Now, the pinnacle of football will be representing Al Hilal on a sandy pitch as they get £500,000 a week. Honestly, this whole thing is worrying. Right now, I can make my peace with superstars like Benzema and Kante in their 30s going to Saudi now. Fine, make your money, who can turn it down? But lads, and this isn't that unrealistic, but Kylian Mbappe, that man has had his heart set on Real Madrid for years, but he was tempted by the Qatari cash to stay at PSG for another couple of years, even though we all know he doesn't really want to. What happens if Mbappe's next move is to go to Saudi Arabia? We all know this man's Achilles heel, his weak spot is money. I'm telling you now, I would not be shocked if a Saudi club came in and offered him £1.5 million a week to go and play for Al Batin. I don't see him turning it down. I wouldn't be shocked to see Mbappe make the move, and if that happens, then a horrible, scary precedent has been set. We've seen former Ballon d'Or winners go to Saudi, but if we see a potential future Ballon d'Or winner go to Saudi before he's 25, then you have my permission to panic. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Let me know in the comments, what do you make of the whole Saudi thing? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give a like, as always. I'll talk to you in a while.